Hi, second grade. Today we will be comparing fractions, just like when we're comparing numbers. So when we're comparing fractions, we're looking to see which of the fraction is a bigger amount, or which one's a smaller amount, or maybe they're equal to each other. So the first thing we're going to be doing when we compare fractions, I want us to remember our symbols when comparing things. We're going to use our less than symbol, our greater than symbol, or our equal to symbol. Remember, the crocodile is always going to want to eat what's the greater amount. So if it's a pizza, and we're trying to figure out which the greater fraction of the pizza is, our crocodile is going to want to eat that amount. So an example up here is 5/8 is greater than 3/8. And I'll get into how to figure that out a little bit later on into this. And remember, when we're writing a fraction, we're going to have a top number and we're going to have a bottom number. Mathematicians, they use the words numerator for the top number and denominator for the bottom number. So if you want to sound impressive to your teacher or your parents, you're going to want to use those words, numerator and denominator. So for this example, we have our pizza here, and it's cut into fourths. So remember, our denominator, I always remember it as D for denominator. It's going to go down on the bottom. So denominator down. So we have 4 different slices here. And then if, let's say, one person eats it, now we only have 3 slices. So since there was 3 slices left out of the 4 possible, we're going to put the 3 on top because that's how many we have, and then the 4 is going to go on bottom because that's how many total slices we had in the beginning. So when we are comparing fractions, there's 2 ways you can compare fractions. You can compare like fractions, which are fractions that have the same denominator or the same bottom number. So look at this example, 1/3 and 2/3. They have the same bottom number. The other way you compare fractions is different types of fractions, and they're going to have 2 different denominators. They're not going to be similar. The bottom number is going to be different. But we're going to start by comparing like fractions. So the first thing I want us to do is compare these 2 rectangles up here. So we're going to want to make our fraction. That's the first thing we're going to want to do, is we're going to make our fraction for both these rectangles. So the first thing we need to do is we need to count how many parts are in this entire rectangle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this rectangle is made up of 4 parts. So that's going to be our denominator, our bottom number. So now we got to compare the 2 and see how many purple pieces make up each rectangle. So the top one, we got to count how many purple pieces it has. It has 1, 2, 3. So it has 3 purple pieces. That's going to be my numerator, my top number. So 3/4 of this rectangle, this top rectangle, is made up of purple. So my bottom rectangle, it only has one piece of purple. So 1/4 of the bottom rectangle is made up of purple. So now when we look at it, we can visually see that this top rectangle has more purple pieces. So 3/4 is going to be greater than 1/4. So let's look over at our pizzas over here. So I ordered 2 pizzas. They came in hot, steaming, nice and ready to go, and they are cut into thirds, I'm sorry. So this one's telling me 1/3, it's telling me that only one of my slice is going to be colored in. This one's telling me that 2 of my slices are going to be colored in. I'm going to color my 2 slices. So now, when comparing these, I got to figure out which symbol I'm going to use. I'm going to use my greater than, less than, or equal to symbol. I got to figure out which one has the greatest amount. So which one is my alligator going to want to eat? Which way is it going to point? Well, 2 slices is bigger than 1, so my alligator is going to want to eat 2/3. So 1/3 is less than 2/3. So let's look down here at our squares here. I'm going to imagine that these are chocolate bars. So we got chocolate bars that are split into 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my denominator. So now, 2 pieces. It's telling me to color in 2 pieces of my chocolate bar. Now this one is telling me to color in 3 pieces of my chocolate bar. Great. So now I got to figure out which way is my alligator mouth going to go. Well, they're not the same amount. This one has 3 pieces compared to that 2. So 3 is bigger than 2. So my alligator is going to want to eat more of that. So 2/4 is greater than 3/4. So in an assignment, some of you might just get something like this. You might say 3/5 and then 2/5, and you got to figure out how to compare them, which one's greater. So a lot of the time, when we like fractions can be easy because if they have the same denominator, we don't really have to worry about the denominator. We just have to worry about the top number. We just have to worry about the top number, and we got to figure out which one is greater than each other. So look at the ones up here. We will look at the top number, 1 and 2. Which one's bigger? 2 is bit greater than 1. Look at these two numerators up down here. 3 is greater than 2. So when we look at our numerator, we just got to look at and say that 3 is greater than 2. So when comparing like fractions, it can be quite easy because all you really have to do is look at the top number and see which one is bigger. So now, when comparing unlike fractions, it's a little bit different because unlike fractions, the denominators are going to be different. They're not going to be the same like fractions. So the first thing I want us to do again is look at our rectangles up here. Let's make our fractions for our rectangles. Let me pick the color blue. So we got rectangle number 1 and rectangle number 2. So let's first count how many pieces make up rectangle number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 pieces. That's going to be my denominator because that's the amount of pieces it makes up. So then, how many red pieces do I have that make up rectangle 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be my numerator. So 6/9 of my first rectangle is going to be colored in red. So let's go over to number 2. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3 pieces that make up my entire rectangle. So that's going to be my denominator, my bottom number. And how many pieces are colored in 1? Well, just 1 is colored in 1, so that's going to be my top number. So 1/3 of my rectangle is colored in red. So now we got to look at it and see which one has the greater amount. Well, rectangle 1 has almost double the amount that rectangle 2 has. So my alligator mouth is going to look at 6/9. So 6/9 is greater than 1/3. So down here, again, my denominators are different, but my numerators are the same. Let's see how that plays out. So I'm going to have to cut my piece cut into 4ths. I'm going to have to cut it. I'm going to have to color 2 pieces in. My coloring skills are not the greatest, so you got to bear with me. And then we got our normal pizza that's cut into 8 slices, because normally when you buy a pizza, it's going to come in 8 slices. And I'm only going to color in 2 of them. Alright, so when comparing these and seeing which one has the greater amount, well, this pizza, I'm almost taking half of the pizza. This one, I'm only taking about 1/4 of the pizza. So my 2/4 is going to be greater than, my crocodile wants that pizza. So 2/4 is going to be greater than 2/8. So let's keep practicing. We're going to get a little help with our buddies, SpongeBob and Patrick. So SpongeBob and Patrick went to the store and bought 2 chocolate candy bars. SpongeBob ate 2/5 of his, and Patrick ate 4/7 of his. Who ate more of the candy bar? So when we look at these, we can't tell who ate more right away because our denominators are not the same. These denominators are not the same, so I can't tell who ate more. So this is an unlike fraction. So I have to draw it out. I have to look at my visuals. So the first thing I have to do is label whose chocolate bars is whose. So SpongeBob ate 2/5 of his chocolate bar. So his chocolate bar split into 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one's SpongeBob's here. And then Patrick, he ate 4/7 of his chocolate bar. So his chocolate bar split into a different amount. His is split into 7 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one's Patrick's. So now we gotta look and see how many pieces they both ate. So SpongeBob ate 2 out of the 5 pieces. So let's count 2 pieces. 1, 2. Let's color those in. So that's how much SpongeBob ate of his chocolate bar. So now Patrick ate 4 out of 7 pieces of his chocolate bar. So we got to count 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I coded in the best I could. So now we got to look and see who ate the greater amount, who ate more. So from our visual that we created, we can easily tell that Patrick ate more chocolate. He ate more of his candy bar. So 4/7 is greater than 2/5.